Welcome everyone to the podcast sharing insights and experiences for game studies and engineering here at Klagenfurt University. As you know, GSE is our unique master's program blending game analysis with technical development skills. A crucial part of that is the mandatory internship, bridging theory with real-world practice. Today, we're diving into exactly that experience. I'm joined by Federico, one of our GSE students who recently finished his internship at a local game studio, Fire Totem Games. They are currently deep in development on their first commercial title, A Webbing Journey. It's all about spiders, by the way. Federico, thanks for joining us. Before we dive into the internship itself, could you briefly introduce yourself to our listeners and maybe what drew you to GSE?
Yes, of course. First of all, hi to everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, in this podcast. So, I'm Federico Montalesi, a last year student of GSE and current game designer of Fire Totem Games and level designer also. So, yeah, my main occupation inside the studio is handling all the creative parts connected with mechanics, system interaction, and narratives. And as a GSE student, well, it's study and try to finish my master.
Nice. Thank you for the introduction. But before we talk about Fire Totem Games of the studio itself, how did you find the opportunity? How did you became intern at Fire Totem Games?
Yeah, well, that's a fun story. Basically, you a bit of luck maybe and try to find the opportunity. I was aware of the existence of Fire Totem Games in university because I met Sebastian and a member of the team around the university several times. And I saw that as a huge opportunity to have some experience. I really like it, their vision and the game. I met them at the game jam, so I decided to inform a bit about them and find an occasion to go directly to speak with Sebastian and create a connection with him. The first chance that I had was during a winter game jam organized by you, Mathias, by the way, and in which I
Great
started.
event.
Yes, incredible event in which we collaborate to create the awards. I was painting them and preparing. He was 3D printing. I think we kind of vibed and get along. And I asked him, "Hey, do you have maybe a spot for an internship? Because I really want to work as game designer, learn more, and build my skill on that." And he did me a bit of interview, and he already saw my effort during the game jam in various occasions, and he just said, "Yeah, of course, let's do it."
Oh, great. So the opportunity came along when joining the game jams. That's a very good point. Work with others, be open, go towards people. And any suggestions how to do that? So if somebody is really shy and doesn't want to connect to other people, how would you do that? Any tips from you?
Yeah, first of all, I know that seems how I can say, such a trivial things, but don't be scared to speak with people. Many, many times in our industry, people are glad to speak and get connected, especially in events in which is the purpose of the event itself is create a network. Okay, so if you are in a game jam or you go in a convention, in a business events, in one of the PGDA events that you can find all around Austria. PGDA is the Pioneer Game Developer of Austria, so our local
We'll
network.
have them in the next podcast.
Okay, wonderful.
Martin Philipp is joining us.
That's so cool. Okay, so anyway, in this type of events, people are there for speak together, know new people. So that's the best place, the best scene in which you can just go and speak and try to face shyness and embarrassment. And I know really well because it's not really visible now, but I'm extremely shy and embarrassed. I always feel that I do something wrong when I speak with people and things like that. But in the right environment, it becomes really easy to connect. Second things that I suggest is being proactive. Never wait that the occasion come to you. Plan and create a way to find your occasion. Trust me, you can reach everyone in the industry with a bit of effort and 2 or 3 handshake.
Thanks. That's actually very good advice. Thank you. So everybody who's listening, take it by heart. Then you get a cool internship. Speaking about the cool internship, what is the team like? How big is it? What are the people like? How is the atmosphere in Fire Totem Games?
The team is terrible. I hate everyone. It's not definitely the most incredible people that I ever meet in a working place. No, I'm joking, of course. First of all, technical information. We are a team of 6 people divided with a really broad skill set and competence. Our team is composed, first of all, by our super mega boss, Sebastian, our core dev. He mainly, I think he alone coded 90% of the game. He's also the co-CEO. So he's also handling the management part and the connection with like our publisher and things like that. After we have Mikkel, sound designer, and like our producer at this point. He handled all like the welfare, not only like the logistic element of our team, but also the welfare, how we are going. He always try to keep in touch with us to understand if like our stress level are okay and fine. So he do an incredible job, and he creates all the wonderful music that you hear in the game, and also the narrative. He collaborate with me for the narratives at the moment. And after we have Michael, Iris and Michael. So Manuel, that is our 3D artist. With Sebastian and Michael, they started the studio together. He's the 3D modeler, and he handled whatever you see in 3D. Usually it's his stuff. Somehow he made it or corrected or fixed it. On the last founder, because our 4 founders and 2 employee, I'm one of an employee at the moment, is Noel, was also a student of GSE. He started as an intern some years ago. I don't remember when, I think 2 years ago. And as me, like he got hired because like Sebastian, Michael, and Manu like said, "Oh yeah, you are perfect in the team. Let's go." And he handled 2 things mainly: UX design and user interaction, user experience, user interaction, and user interface. Sorry. And the second, he handled our community, because we have a really big community on various social, especially on Discord, that requires basically a full-time job to be moderate properly, especially due to our target. But that's another story. Maybe we can explore it later.
We'll add the links to Discord, of course, in the show notes.
Yeah, last but not least, except me, it's Anya, another colleague always from GSC. She started the internship basically with me, I think 1 month later or something like that. And we are currently working together. She's the 2D artist and environmental concept artist. So whatever is connected with the aesthetic and the mood of the game, it's her job, but not only, because like as a 2D artist, you, especially in small studios, you will also work on the marketing things and all the things connected with the cosmos of like selling the game. In bigger company, usually are 2 separate roles. The artist can both work on both side, but you know, in 6 people, usually we try to agglomerate and try to do more things possible altogether.
Yeah, so that the people wear many hats to cover up the roles that are not completely set in stone. That's great. So speaking of the game, we didn't speak about the game. Can you give us a very short introduction of what game we're actually talking about?
Absolutely. So our Ben Journey. Our Ben Journey is a sandbox, a bit role play game designed for kids, family, and whoever want to have a bit of chaotic relax, I will say. The concept of the game is that it's a spider simulator. So you play as a little spider called Silky with a simple mission, helping humans to take care of their home. The idea is that spider live with us at home, but he really doesn't understand that home is kept clean by us. So imagine what happened if like a community of spider discovered that, hey, actually humans are doing things to keep this place tidy, but we also live here, so we want to contribute. So we have this concept of like this group of spider called the web scrubbers that have the goal to help humans doing little chores around home, like cleaning the dishes or like watering the plant or cleaning the floor or ordering kids' toys around. Small problem, they are really small, tasks are really big, and everything will become chaotic with like tons of physical interaction and webs. That's
That
basically the
sounds a
concept.
little bit like an educational games, teaching kids that they have to tidy up their place anyway.
Yeah,
let's hope it
yeah,
does that.
absolutely, absolutely. It's actually a selling point for us with parents. To be fair, especially at fairs, at the event, like a lot of parents told us, "Yeah, that will be so cool. Maybe my kid will like start to do the chores." Maybe like I'm hope that, but learned that kids doesn't behave in that way. It's a really interesting story. That anyway, yeah, we have like a pedagogic intent. Like it's a bit of my philosophy, because like I said, I'm the game designer, so have a huge creative imprint over the game, and with the creativity come always the ethos. So also a bit of like my vision of like ethics and education get mixed inside the game. At the end, I'm not the one to take the final decision about everything, but like I love to share my idea, and the team is always really open to accept it or evaluate as a possibility for the game.
Nice.
So yeah.
Now, taking up the word on game designer, sharing your experience, discussing it with the team, how did your role evolve? Because, I mean, as an intern, you do not come in and say, I'm the game designer and listen, I have these great ideas, but how did you start and how did you end to where we are now?
Okay, well, that's really interesting. No, you never go and say, I'm the game designer. First of all, because I want to clarify something about my role right now that is important for everyone that want to become a game designer. A game designer is not a creative director by default, okay? Is not the product owner of the final game design. That's another role. The people that choose what at the end is in the game is almost never the group of game designer. Game designer have it's almost like consulting. You provide option to people with more knowledge of the resource of the game, because you can have all the idea in the world, but if the company doesn't have the resource to develop this idea, that's completely useless. And usually a single game designer doesn't have the full plan. So my
Okay,
role
that's a
also now,
very interesting take, actually. Sorry that I interrupt you, but
no,
that's
no, don't
actually a
worry.
very interesting take and a very good description. So the game designer is for game design, but the stakeholders decide. And the stakeholders can be different people, like technical director saying that's technically not possible, a 3D artist saying we do not have the resources to implement that, or even a producer saying, oh my God, we need more money for that. We can't do that, or something like that.
Yeah, it's basically that. So it's more a job about communicating idea and elaborating from, like creating a plan for idea. A game designer is not the idea guy. Many times the idea is not even coming from me. Like sometimes yes, and the final result is like a combination between various idea. But yeah, it's a bit more complex and a lot of documentation. Speaking about how I arrived in this job, in this role, everything started with a request. Of course, as an intern, you usually take the necessity of the team, and like the team communicate you, look, we need you to do this little task, we need to do these things. You start with the idea is like a high responsibility low priority task, so something that is really important for the team but like is not have so much priority that if you fail everything will crash. And in my case was an analysis about the weakness and the strength of the game. The idea was creating a puzzle. Originally, it was a puzzle game, a web journey. They designed this like system. The game originally was placed in a series of islands that you have to explore, island by island, trying to resolve little mystery and puzzle with the spider ability and proceed in a story to find, like I think was for a dating, like you have to date your spider date or something like that. With my like I started just to design puzzle, but the things doesn't click at it properly. So like I said, hey, look, Sebastian, I'm not sure if I'm like someone that can't like use this the resource, the feature of the game to create puzzle in the way that you imagine it, or it's something more at the core of the game loop that doesn't work. So Sebastian told me, okay, like explore that, analyze it. So I started to analyze and presentation, and I arrived at the really hard point in which I had to go to Sebastian and tell you, not exactly that word, but it's more fun telling that in that way. Look, the game that you worked for 2 years doesn't work at all, actually. And it's a terrible thing to say as an intern, going to a person that put like blood, the heart, like all passion and energy in a game and saying, look, it doesn't work, is the worst things that you can say, especially because usually you get fired instantly if people are terrible and not a real professional, because Sebastian is not this type of person. Sebastian is an extremely professional and empathetic person that are able to understand the meaning behind word without putting like, just emotion in the middle. He said, okay, you know what? We need to think about it because something around that it's actually like right. And altogether, we like started to redesign and re-understand the very core elements of the game. We got it at the island, missed completely of verticality. That I mean, you're a spider. Spider never walk on the floor, walk on the ceiling. You want to have more like vertical and boundaries in which you can explore. Second, island create like a spider have no limitation, can work everywhere, and with webs can create a bridge where bridge doesn't exist. So puzzle require complexity. Puzzle require some type of challenge that you need to face. And like traditional challenge in puzzle design put obstacle like that are not suited for spider world. So we had to redesign completely our mentality around what is a spider, what you need to do. A third element was about the fact that I got it that we had too many unusual things for a player. So basically it was a spider behavior in a completely natural environment. And appears strange, but we are not used to see full natural environment. We need something more anthropocentric to be like, do we need to have something that make us like, okay, I recognize these things as like not alien. So we changed the settings from a natural environment to a domestic environment in which was more easy, recognize pattern and elements and understand better. So the element of complexity remained like the spider itself, his behavior that is completely unnatural for us, and the element of like more like comfort was the environment that was something that which we interact every day. So we reduced the cognitive load over the players. And what happened after that? My internship was over at that point, but I acquired so much knowledge on like what is like designing a game for a spider. I had to completely change my way to observe a game, and especially the 3C, like especially control camera character. Like I had to change it completely. Sebastian, tell you at this point you have the know-how to design the game because nobody else acquired that know-how. Let's continue together. Let's go in that direction. That was
Okay.
basically.
Okay, yeah, that's actually very interesting. Also, you explained it very well with the verticality and the puzzle challenges, because of course I can also not think of any challenge a spider faces besides, of course, wind and length, but that opens up other problems like how to get there, lengthy journeys, and yeah, then you need the instant travel. So opening up a lot of problems in open worlds, and closing your world is a good approach. Also, the metaphor people might know already because of things like toys or other computer games, so movies and computer games. So that might be something that people are visually already connected to. That's great. Thank you very much. But what would be your day-to-day reality? What are the tools and processes you would work with as a game designer?
I would say three tools mainly. First is our knowledge repository system, or knowledge collector, or whatever you want to call it. In our case, is Notion, but can be whatever, like can be Excel, can be Drive, can be whatever in which you can write, collect information, and order the information in a way that is accessible for other people. So usually digital tools. As I said, in our case, Notion, because it's extremely flexible and have a lot of features that we needed. But I also suggest for like people that start with that Obsidian. Let's do a bit of promotion to an open source software.
Obsidian is not open source. Sorry, I'm
It's
using
not
it and
open
I'm really
source.
pissed. No, the plugins are open source.
The
So
plugin.
most of the
Never
plugins are
mind.
open source. Yeah, no, Obsidian is a great tool. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is that as soon as you want to share it, you have to pay.
That's terrible. Okay, I was not aware of that because we have a private server of Obsidian with my local friends, so I was not aware. But great to know. So Obsidian is a good solution. Is anyway like less expensive and more flexible than Notion. That when you have a team, you have to pay an incredible amount for each one. So second tools that we use, of course, is Unity. Is our main engine in which we develop. And due to the fact that I'm not only the system designer and mechanic designer, but also the level designer, I need a tool to design the level. And we are going for the approach of fast prototyping inside the game with Pro Build and many other plugins that help me to create a lot of like basic shape and gray boxing. Exists other approach, of course, that is the one that we included in our pipeline for various reasons that are really technical and we don't have time to discuss it. Third tools that I will never remove from my like list of tools is like pen and paper. Like every game designer needs like to disconnect for a second from like PC sometimes to create and write on paper, especially because ideas never come at work. Okay, like the creativity process is a process that can't happen in the working place. I recently had a super interesting panel about demystifying creativity with one of the creative director of Ubisoft that was explaining exactly that. Look, creativity doesn't come at work, so don't pretend that you can be creative at work. Fine by me. If you say that, I believe you. So yeah, especially I use like Remarkable, a digital pen and paper, but still pen and paper. Maybe I can go a bit deeper on what is these three tools. About you, tell me.
Let's head on, also because of the time constraints.
Yeah, sure.
So I would move on to the last part of the interview or of our podcast about the challenges and learning. So what would be very interesting for me as a teacher and lecturer in GSE is, did it actually help to study GSE and then come to Could you bridge the gap between theory and practice?
Yeah, sure. The answer is yes, but not in the way that people can expect, maybe. I mean, at least I didn't expect it that when I arrived. Due to the fact that, especially for the structure of GSC, when you want to go in a really hard skill based environment like doing game design or whatever technical, GSC give you the tools to understand this word, but give us the connection to do it. But you need to do a further step alone. You must be able to reinterpret information that is provided to you and also have a lot of like self-studying. Like usually, like especially as for the time that we have in class, you as a professor give the hint for us, and after it's our job to go at home, explore it, go deeper, go further, and especially for game design, that is really important. Game design require tons of competence that is impossible to teach in a single class, like in a single course. I spoke with many colleagues, game designer that did game design academy, a pure game design academy, was in our same situation. So basically, maybe they have all the technical skill connected with like how to do prototyping and things like that we maybe doesn't explore in GSE, but they missed all the anthropological or the sociological or game studies element, or also the engineering part that we study with you, that are the bridge between game design and the other part of like creating a game. So anyway, you still have to study alone. A game designer, it's being a game designer means is being a jack of all trades. Like, you need to know a bit of everything, but in the way that you can use it for your job.
Okay,
I don't know
thank
if
you very much for that answer. No, it's actually good. Also, I mean, I have to point out that game studies and engineering is not about game design.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
a common misconception, but it helps that what you said, that you learn the vocabulary to learn the language, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Thank you for that.
And it teaches you something I think more important, that is about the soft skill, that is actually the most important type of skill for a game designer, because hard skills are always learnable on the paper and especially on the job in your first year. The real problem is that you must be able to communicate properly your idea and your how you elaborate. You must be communicate your process. Due how like class are folded in GSC, you learn really, really well how to communicate, how to like give information. So that is, I noticed that I have like a positive gap compared to people that just study game design, because I'm faster to communicate ideas and re-elaborate it.
Yeah, that was also the idea of the interdisciplinary studies. So thank you for confirming that if you know a little bit of everything and then make a deep dive into one specific category, then it helps you really well with communications and especially interdisciplinary work, which is, I think, crucial for many jobs and especially games.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
definitely agree. It worked well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, what were your biggest challenges and your key learnings from the internship?
My big challenge was facing my biggest enemy, to be fair, myself. Let's start with that maybe, and after let's go to the skill. I constantly, I arrived in my internship fearing the failure. Maybe because the Italian school system punish you when fail without explaining you that failure is a part of the process. But I was not really ready to hear so many times that doesn't work, you have to redo it. 70% of my work never see the second or third step of the pipeline of development, are cut it in the beginning, because as I said, I don't have the full vision of the game, especially I don't have the full vision of the resource, and it's impossible to have it because change over time. And it's so important in the creative process be able to just leave an idea and say, okay, that was a good idea, but it's terrible. Like seems a good idea, but actually it's terrible. And it's something that you learn by time. But learning that making a mistake is not a failure, is not making failure, is such a crucial and simple but difficult concept for me. I acquired now, but was a struggle. I had psychological repercussion about it, but was the process of learning what's my job. So yeah, that's the main core point. Like if you want to become a game designer, be ready to accept that your idea will be just scrapped out, and that your creative genius is not affected by this. It's part of the process, because usually from the ashes of an old idea usually reborn a more stronger and solid idea. And this element is also fundamental. You need to put away your ego and accept it that your first ideas is technically usually horrible because you never take in account many variables that is outside you. So fail fast. So fail fast, iterate your idea, be ready to just leave everything if it doesn't work, and always test it. Speak with the final owner of the product. It's so important. It's not about learning like a hard skill or I learn how to work with Unity. I learn how to write a document. It's about I learn to handle the psychological load of like being a game designer, facing the failure, facing criticism, facing also unpleasant truth about yourself sometimes. And especially if you're some narrative designing is also a bit like facing your personality and facing like yourself, you deeper in. Yeah, and that is the main challenge and was the most pleasant victory for me.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for sharing that. Last question. Was there anything that you did not expect, some kind of surprise? Oh my God, that's what it is in professional world. That's totally not like I expected it.
Two things. First, many people told me, oh, look, the game design is about writing documentation. I didn't expect that 80% of my time was writing documentation. The amount of page that I write each week is enormous. I think I have more than, I don't know. I have no idea how many gigabytes of documents I wrote. It's a lot. Our
So it's
current
not over after the master thesis, kind of.
Never. It's never. I create two database each day, basically, and Sebastian delete three of mine each day. So we are a negative outcome somehow. And I think like our GDD, like the game design document, have like something like 200 page at this point, something like that, for various purpose. Something is just for tracking. Sometimes it's to communicate to other people. Sometimes I review various type of document, but get used to have a standard way to communicate, get used to learn how to use a proper keyword and like create your own vocabulary that is consistent over time and try to understand also what is the needing of other people when you write a document, because you don't write to yourself usually. For yourself, you have pen and paper. Knowledge repository is for everyone. Second point, and this is the last one, I didn't expected how pleasant will be meeting people at events that say, I'm fan of your game. I love what you're doing. And receiving positive and also negative feedback actually is, it's really personal. Maybe it's not for everyone. I know people in my job that hate to face the consumer because they have other approach, but I have like a really player focused vision. So I love interact with people. I love interact with fans and testing with them. And yeah, that's probably so unexpected for me.
Nice. So that's nice that both are kind of nice surprises. The one thing is for me nice that I can tell people writing will stay. So don't fuss about the master thesis. The second one is that you find it nice and surprising to interact with the players, which is often hard for other people. Yeah, you're right. Okay,
I
then
can
please.
hijack you to speaking about writing and do something that is an unpleasant truth for many of my fellow colleagues in study. When you write, especially as a game designer, trust me, guys, ChatGPT is your enemy. Don't use it to write documentation or to create, especially to create new ideas. Don't. It's the worst things that you can do to yourself and your final product. Use it as grammar corrector if you really want, but don't for creating idea. Sorry, that was really important.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. But ChatGPT and AI is here and creativity is here and they're really far away from each other. So
Yeah,
that does not help.
yeah, people mix it because like everything is really shady. But when you call in the professional environment, you need to learn really fast to separate the things. Two different tools, two different words.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you for pointing that out. Nice final word. Stay away from LLMs for creative work and for writing your stuff because you'll never learn it. So to the audience, if you want to give feedback, you can use the platform you found the content on to rate and give feedback like YouTube or Spotify. And you can contact us directly at gse@aau.at. If you're interested in the program, which is the master's program in game studies and engineering at the Klagenfurt University in Austria, very nice place, by the way, check out our webpage. It's aau.at. Links are in the show notes. We also find the link tree in the show notes where you can try out Webbing Journey, subscribe to the social profiles on TikTok, Instagram, go to the Discord server and connect to people like Federico or with Federico from Fire Totem Games working on a webbing journey. You can find the demo on Steam. You can go there and wishlist it. Then this is a thumbs up for the developers and helps them to see that people actually like the game. So that's it for today. Hope you had some fun. Any final words, Federico?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this little chat that we had. I really love it. I just want to add that whoever is interested, to speak about game design, how to enter in the industry, and get connected or just practice how to speak with people definitely more important than me, you can contact me directly. I will provide my the best way to contact me to Mathias, so he can write down, I guess, LinkedIn, Discord, or just email, but mainly LinkedIn and Discord. Please don't be shy. Try to write if you really want to have some information or some little chat about it.
Thank you very much. That is a very generous offer. So Discord is the one way. And if you include your LinkedIn profile, I'll gladly share it in the show notes.
Or if you're in university, let's take a coffee together.
Yeah, that's of course the best version of it. So Fire Totem Games is not too far away from Klagenfurt University. It's something like 500 steps from here.
Yeah, exactly. It should be.
Okay, then thank you very much, Federico, for joining us and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.